We're go. Hello everybody. My name is Oh wait, no, that's my
that's the Crew 2 series. Wrong series.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Podcast for Your Thoughts. Fortnite Part 2, because there's been a lot that's happened since Part 1. We have a special guest here.
Hello.
And no one cares about him. Anyways.
I'm here too, so yeah.
Oh yeah, my brother's here, but who cares?
Yeah, we realized we needed to do an update on this because the last time we actually made an update for this series was Chapter 2, Season 4, about halfway through it, and that was back in like 2020.
Yeah. There's been a lot that's happened, so we needed to come back and do another one.
It's only 2 years. Nothing's happened. Just a few major events.
Yeah.
Minor events.
The main storyline of Chapter 2 and all of Chapter 3.
Yep, November 3rd, 2020 was when we uploaded that last one.
Yeah. And if you actually, I think on the doc towards the bottom, there's podcast notes and stuff we need to go over, and there is a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we need to go over.
So first things, I just want to clear up a few things that we said in the last podcast that we have now been confirmed, and we just needed to correct a few things. One, we kept mentioning the scientist and the visitor as we thought they were the same person, and the scientist's skin was just the visitor had upgraded his armor.
Or they were like from like a different time.
Or from a different point in
one
time.
One of them was already there, one of them was from a while ago, something like that.
Yeah, they're different beings.
They're different people.
They're entirely different beings, that was confirmed.
Different people.
Another thing is we kept calling the 0 point the Nexus point. It's officially called, in canon, the 0 point.
It's not the Nexus point.
Another thing we talked about is we mentioned the little small few issue comics that were a teaser to Chapter 2, Season 4, with a whole Thor arriving on the island and all that. We said the whole memory loss, and then it just wipes everyone's memories and forces them to fight. That's also confirmed to be not infallible because of the whole Batman Fortnite comics, which we'll talk about in this. Those confirmed that if you have strong enough mental fortitude, you can't actually resist the island's effects, because Batman
because if you have a steel-type suit, that works too.
Yeah. If you have strong enough mental fortitude, you can somewhat resist the effects. It'll prevent you from speaking, but you will retain some more of your knowledge, and you can resist the whole bloodlust and wanting to attack everyone, as proven by Batman and Snake Eyes becoming friends in the comic. But yeah, that's proof. And then, of course, as you mentioned, the suits that the scientists wear, and
you mean the 7?
7, yeah, the 7 wear are actually make them immune to the effects of the loop.
Another thing we gotta go over. Now in Fortnite at the point when we said it was the canon, but now it's not. Singularity wasn't piloting the mech; it was actually Paradigm. She went off to the moon. Originally, it was Singularity piloting the mech, but they had to retcon that because crossovers. And Fortnite needs their crossovers. Yeah,
that was the whole thing. It was originally going to be Singularity was Paradigm.
But then they changed that so they could do a crossover. Yeah. Because that's literally all Fortnite does now.
Yeah, because they changed it so Brie Larson was underneath the suit, basically.
Yeah, because I think they're doing that to set up a movie. That's definitely what they're doing.
It does kind of seem like that.
Big actors for it.
They are making the 7 a lot of celebrities.
They definitely are.
Could be setting up a live-action movie.
That would be cool.
There's a thing I don't think I've actually seen before.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Also, because... Sorry, 1 second. So the scientist, isn't he voiced by, like, one of the guys on, like, Friends or something?
He is. He's voiced by,
And I know Jonesy's voice, too.
Isn't it Neil Patrick Harrison or something?
No.
Hold on.
No, it's not. Jonesy's voice, the guy that voice Jonesy, he's done a lot of voice acting.
Fortnite, voice actors in Fortnite. Okay, yeah. The 7 voice actors so far. The scientist is Joel McHale. Foundation is Dwayne Johnson.
You pressed the wrong button. Foundation is Dwayne Johnson.
Joel McHale. The Origin is Rahul Kohli.
I do not know how to pronounce that.
The Imagined is... Okay, I'm just going to look these people up just to see. We're getting a little sidetracked, but... Yeah, Brie Larson, Dwayne Johnson, but...
yeah, obviously that, and we don't have voices for the Visitor and the Order yet, though, so they could still make those celebrities.
Yeah. Just 1 second.
Yeah, like they're definitely not going to do big name actors for the sisters, obviously, because their faces have already been revealed. Same with the Origin. So they just need voices that
The thing
sound good for the role.
The Origin, the Origin, you could really make a couple different people look like him with right makeup and stuff.
Yeah, because that's the thing. He doesn't have like a clear face. He's got the whole scarred effect. Okay, so
Yeah, he's been in a couple things. The guy that voices the scientist.
yeah, he plays Sylvester Pemberton in aka Starman in the Stargirl show. That's the one thing. Black Box, Mortal Kombat Legends. He voiced Johnny Cage.
Yeah, he's been in a couple things.
Yeah, he's been in a few.
You could call him a.
He was in the Twilight Zone.
Oh, interesting. Oh, the new one.
Yeah, the newer one, but still, that Blackish show.
Who's in that?
Alright, you guys seem to be getting very sidetracked.
Yeah, no, we just wanted to see if there's anything.
Oh, he was in
big.
the X-Files. What?
Oh, what? Oh, yeah. Okay, that's okay. Fair enough. Wait. Oh, he was in Supergirl.
The guy who voiced Origin, right?
Yeah, the guy. No, that was Scientist. The guy who voices Origin appeared in Supergirl.
Who?
In iZombie. Jack Sphere, whoever that is.
Sure. Yeah.
The Midnight Club.
Yeah, he was in.
Harley Quinn played Scarecrow in the Harley Quinn animated series.
Oh, I love that series.
Wait, he was in Red vs. Blue?
Huh.
He voiced male Tex in Red vs. Blue. And then the girl who voices the Imagined.
Yeah, I can definitely see them going out
911.
and getting another
Oh!
big.
Wait, okay, she's voiced characters in Miraculous and My Hero Academia, which are two shows I actually know. Pokemon? Okay, okay, Halo Infinite? Holy crap, she's got
Wait, have we heard the Visitor before?
He might have had one.
He said like
He's had like a few lines before, but they don't really have like a famous voice actor. Like they weren't like a famous voice actor. They were Sword Art Online, Addams Family 2.
I can see them going out and getting another big name for the Visitor, but I don't think they're gonna go that far with Imagined and The Order.
This is Imagined.
Yeah, like the Imagined and the Order aren't gonna.
Yeah.
Get, like,
The Order is
big names.
The Imagined. Well, she kind of looks like
Black Clover.
Imagined. So they just gotta find some...
Cyberpunk.
Oh, she's the female voice in Cyberpunk for V. If you choose female V, she's the voice.
Sword Art Online, Fire Force. Holy crap, she's been in a ton of stuff. She plays the main character in BNA. Hold on.
Okay, let's
get back, holy crap. Okay, yeah, we're getting sidetracked, but holy crap. Okay,
you're getting
got a lot of good roles.
You're in charge of the computer. So yeah.
Let's get back to the topic.
Yeah, back to okay. The island isn't on a planet. Basically, we thought that there's one big planet and that the Chapter 2 island was on the same planet as the Chapter 1 island, but now we know that's not true.
Yeah, it's just in its own little void thing from the flipped.
I still think that Chapter 1 is part of a different reality separate from the Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 islands.
Considering the fact that we did talk about entering the loop and all that, and now we know that the loop itself is its own pocket reality zero, yeah, the island probably was its own reality out there in the multiverse, and then using the 0 point that appeared in that, because 0 point exists in every single multiverse throughout all the time. That was, like, every single multiverse in all of reality, there is a 0 point there, which we do know that, so... That's probably what it was. They probably used that 0 point.
When did that get confirmed?
It was in one of I can't remember if it was in one of the... I think it was in Batman Zero.
It was in one of the comics.
It was in one of the comics, I'm pretty sure. They did confirm that the 0 point exists in every single reality at the same time. And like this the whole thing was... They also confirmed in like the newest Marvel's Zero War comics that if you get thrown into the 0 point and it's not focused on a specific reality, you'll get scattered across all reality. It'll disintegrate you and spread your atoms across every single reality in existence.
Oh.
Yeah.
But the reason I say that is because we got the Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 islands are both in the loop, and they both have the 0 point. Chapter 1 island also had the 0 point. And it's got the same sort of concept as the loop, drop in, kill each other, win, drop in, kill each other, win, over and over. So I feel like it's another reality somewhere in the loop.
Fair enough.
I thought that the whole thing was that, like, in the Batman comic, I don't think it ever confirmed that there was several 0 points.
No, it's one 0
said,
point.
Something about it cycling. I thought it said something about just cycling.
Yeah, kind of. No, there's only one 0 point. It's just, it exists in every reality at the same time. It's one spread across everything.
Okay, that's what you're trying to get
out. There is only one 0 point. It's not tied to one reality. It exists in every reality.
Okay, now, we've got... that's all the stuff that we talked about in the last one that we
that's
needed
all
to
our
go back
confirmations.
and...
Now we're going on to, like, actual stuff we missed.
New stuff. Since... Everything that's happened since we brought out the last one. First up, Galactus event. Boy.
That was fun. That was really fun.
That was interesting. Do you think that really had a lot to do with the story?
Not a ton. It more just confirmed that the 0 point was still on this new island. Because that was the first time we actually saw it in this...
Yeah.
On the new island.
I don't remember. Did it say that he was the one that damaged the 0 point leading into Chapter 2, Season 5, or was that something else?
He started...
He was the one who damaged it.
He was the one who originally damaged it, but it wouldn't have gotten as bad as it was if Jonesy hadn't kept traveling dimensions, bringing people to the island.
Yeah.
But actually, no, it does play a role later on, but we'll come back to what that role played in, because it ties into the Zero War comic.
Alright, so we got through that event, and then...
Chapter 2, Season 5.
Oh boy.
My favorite seasons.
A whole bunch of crossovers.
Yeah. The whole bring bounty hunters across realities and other people to this world to fight each other to throw off people from going after the 0 point.
Yeah.
That was... Sorry, go.
How many crossovers were in that season?
So many. So many.
God of War, Halo, Star Wars, more specifically The Mandalorian.
Let me actually find... Hold on.
No, Lara Croft came later.
Yeah, that was
so
next
did Raven.
Season. Chapter 2.
Why can't it? Predator, Terminator.
Season 5.
That was Street Fighter, right? First wave of Street Fighter came out.
Every single Fortnite collab crossover.
Walking Dead.
In Battle Royale's history. No, I just want the Season 5 stuff.
We got Green Arrow in the crew pack. Well, that's another thing. That was the introduction of the crew pack in Chapter 2, Season 5.
Right. There's a crew... Well, okay.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, the Mandalorian was introduced in, like, the Battle Pass itself, and you get the Child alongside as well. Then they introduced Kratos, Master Chief, Darl Dixon, and Michonne. I probably butchered that, but the two from Walking Dead. Green Arrow.
There's Green Arrow.
Black Panther, Captain Marvel, and
Taskmaster.
Yeah. That was a whole tribute to Chadwick Boseman.
Keep going.
Oh, that's all they showed for this, which is ironic.
Predator was the Battle Pass secret skin. I know that.
Yeah, Battle Pass secret skin.
And then there was Street Fighter.
Street Fighter.
Was that when Gears of War came out, or did it come out later?
Gears of War was
No, Gears of War was like Chapter 3, Season 1.
Yeah, it was Chapter 3, Season 1. It came out like 5 weeks after the season started.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure one of the skins, I think, might have... Because I think it's the
Basically, there were a lot of crossovers.
The Flash appeared. You mentioned that one, I think?
I don't know if I did.
Ant-Man also was one of them.
Yeah.
Tron.
Tron. Yeah, the Tron skins. No, Gamora... Okay, Gamora might have. I don't know. I don't remember when she was
added.
added.
Either that or Season 6.
Gamora came out in Chapter 2, Season 4. She was one of the skins from, you know, when they had all those tournaments with a bunch of them.
Yeah.
She was one of those.
Yeah.
Remember when everyone thought we were getting Five Nights at Freddy's?
Did you mention Alien?
Alien 2, yep.
Yeah, they had the Aliens, and then the Terminators, of course, you mentioned that one
Snake
already.
Eyes.
Snake Eyes, that was one.
Remember when everyone thought we were getting Five Nights at Freddy's or Family Guy? And then it turned out it was just Tron.
Yeah,
Tron was disappointing.
Yeah, because they didn't even bring in any of the actual characters. They just made, like, random skins wearing the Tron gear.
But it was like, so like the code name for that set had something to do with Family Guy, and then the picture that was in like those portals that appeared was from Five Nights at Freddy's world, but then the crossover for that portal was Tron. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, that was interesting thing, but chapter 2, yeah, so the whole like hunters from across all realities was their excuse to bring in like a whole bunch of just crossover stuff. But then that was also the season that we really were introduced to two big players in the world's story, the Imagined Order and Agent Jones.
Yep.
And Sloan.
We had never seen the Imagined Order before that.
And and
they just kind of started appearing on the map.
And
really.
yes, well, we might have seen references to Agent Jones back in that past event. This was the first time we actually got to know him, like with his whole reality logs and all that.
Yep.
But speaking of reality logs, that's when actually things got a little more interesting. Because he had the whole... through the whole time of him going around and collecting more and realizing he was destabilizing reality, he contacted the Imagined Order to try and get their help to save all reality, but they were just ready to abandon it. They didn't care for this reality at all, and because of that, Jones became disillusioned with the whole Imagined Order. Actually, here, I'm going to put on real quick.
Yeah, which...
Reality log. Does it even matter? What's the point of recording these logs if you're not going to listen? We've lost control of the 0 point. Do you get what that means? You must not, because you're doing nothing. I've dedicated my life to the Order. I've given everything. And for what? To just sit back and watch reality end? That's not who we are. At least it's not who I am. Not anymore.
So yeah, he just kind of went like, just noped out of the Imagined Order there.
Yeah, it was basically like, if the Imagined Order isn't going to help me save reality, then I don't need them.
This is Agent Jones requesting access to restricted file 8752. This is Agent Jones requesting access to restricted file 8752. Oh, really? No time to stabilize reality, but plenty of time to revoke my credentials. This is Agent Jones requesting access to all materials related to the 7. Oh, great! Okay, if you're not going to give me what I need, I'm just going to have to take it.
So yeah, then this is when we sort of mentioned, we'd heard references to the 7, of course, considering the fact that the Visitor and the Scientist and Paradigm skins, well, the original Paradigm skin, had all been given part of the set called the 7.
Mm-hmm.
But we had never actually like heard much about who they were. And this is when that story also kind of kicked off with the whole Zero Crisis event at the beginning of Chapter 2, Season 6. Which is also when we got introduced to another member of the 7, the Foundation.
Mm-hmm. And was this the first time we ever heard Jenna ever mentioned?
Yeah, I think that was the first...
No, we heard Sloan. That was the first time we heard Sloan was between those seasons?
First time we heard Sloan was at the beginning of Chapter 2, Season 5 in the trailer. Sloan was talking to Jonesy, giving him orders. And then...
We hadn't heard the voice of Geno yet.
Yeah,
not the
we
voice,
still haven't
but
heard the voice of Geno.
Just the first time his name was mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
when
the
Jones
sisters were also mentioned.
Yeah, which now we know the sisters are imagined in the order. But yeah, the first mention of the Genome Meeting Foundation, and that story went relatively without major stories until towards the end with the whole Batman Fortnite, when we actually learned the physics of the island, and we now know the mystery, that bunker that had been in the games back, that was found way back in Wailing Woods, all the way back in Chapter 1. That bunker that appeared in this island too, those are access points to the IO's massive underground facility.
Yep.
Yeah, and rest in peace to Fish Stick, who died to get
Yeah,
Yes.
rest in peace,
A
Fish Stick.
A moment of silence for
man.
Fish Stick, please.
We also know
So
that...
anyway,
Hey, shut up. A moment of silence for Fish Stick. Anyways, next up.
No. Actually, there's a little bit more about the comics we need to talk about. The whole physics on how the loop works. Being that every single person inside the loop, even if they die when the loop resets, they're brought back to life. They have 22 minutes, is basically the reset point. After 22 minutes, the loop resets itself.
22 minutes being the average amount of time for a Fortnite match.
Yeah. Also...
Or the maximum amount of time. I don't quite remember.
No, it's 22 minutes until the storm fully closes.
Oh, yes.
The whole 22 minutes basically until it resets. The more loops you're in, the more your memories deteriorate. Anything you do to yourself or change, so like giving yourself more gear, painting or scratching stuff out in your armor and all that, if you have any armor or something like that, or keeping things on yourself, those will carry over. Like any objects you hold, no, but anything you do to your clothing or gear, that will retain through loops. That's what Batman did. He sketched messages onto his armor, and then when he reset, even if his memory was gone again, he still had messages from himself carved into his armor.
That's a big brain move.
It is possible to work with other loopers, which is, I think, is their way to explain duos and squads and all that.
Yep.
Hence with him teaming up with Catwoman and Snake Eyes. Yeah. Another thing that they need to understand is that in order to escape the loop, it is actually possible for a random person to escape. It's hard to figure out. If you are standing right where the storm closes in on, right as it does, and you're the last person standing, you get sent out of the loop. You're still on the island, but you're no longer stuck in the 22-minute repeating time loop. And if you, unlike when you're stuck in the loop, if you die there, you're dead for good. Another interesting, though, is once you escape the loop takes a snapshot of you. Basically a copy of you, but without any memories, without any memories of who they once were, and is stuck inside the loop to continue living out, like basically in a copy of you that gets to live inside the loop and fight with the others stuck inside it for the rest of time.
Forever and ever and ever.
Yeah, it's kind of complicated.
Happy way to live.
Well, you'd never need to eat, sleep, drink, so it wouldn't be... Well, no, it's bad.
Yeah, but you don't really get to be happy. They're kind of like emotionless.
Yeah, so kind of, yeah. They're just stuck with just anger, basically, is the one emotion. They want to kill every other living being around them. Until they're the last one standing, basically. It's brutal. Then we also learned at the end of that comic, though, that Sloane was working with Lex Luthor. And that also kind of tied into the next chapters, Chapter 2, Season 7. Apparently, and there was a little bit of stuff I had to do, so a little bit of research, but I found out basically, Raz. The whole thing is, basically, the Spire was giving out dark energy to try and keep people away from it so that they wouldn't damage the 0 point as it tried to fix itself. But Raz didn't care. He wanted to get too close, got corrupted by the dark energy, and became that, like, almost cube-looking thing that we saw. But apparently him being that conduit for the dark energy, and the dark energy gave it up, attracted the attention of the last reality.
I think it was that he found a piece of the cube there.
Yeah, a
Not
fragment.
as much as the cube corrupting, or the 0 point corrupting him.
Yeah, but the corrupted energy is where the cube and the last reality stem from. Because the 0 point, as we learned, is the source of everything in existence. That got confirmed that like every single the creation of every single reality throughout the entire multiverse, throughout the entire omniverse, comes from the 0 point. It's the source of everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole thing with that being that the dark energy, so even the dark energy that the cube stuff runs off of did come from the 0 point eventually, and that's the 0 point was giving it off to protect itself. But then that spike in dark energy ended up drawing the attention of the last reality. So the last reality came and they launched an attack on the island. It's supposedly they destroyed the 0 point, but apparently not so much because it still survived. But
Sneaky little bugger.
yeah, but then they launched an attack on the island and began their invasion. And that was when we first actually got to meet Sloane, and the IO began their counterforce. That was also where Jonesy got captured, and the skin Maven was revealed to be a traitor and was giving information to the aliens. And that all led up to them using her to set up the Skyfire event. Skyfire event just proved what I'd known all along, that Sloane is an absolute
Bitch.
yeah. Which I'd known from the fact that we saw her working with Lex Luthor and the psycho insane Batman Who Laughs and Deathstroke to open a portal in the middle of Metropolis.
Okay, Psycho Insane doesn't really explain the Batman Who Laughs very well.
Well, yeah, but I'm not gonna go into
He's a
his.
little bit crazier than that.
Yeah, but I'm not. This is about Fortnite. I'm not gonna explain the whole entire origin story of the Batman Who Laughs.
No, we could definitely go on another side tangent about that.
Yeah, he's got a long origin story that we just don't really have time for that right now. But yeah, the Sloane proves she's a bitch when she tries to leave us on an exploding mothership. And that's when we learned that the cube wasn't a singular thing.
There were more Kevins.
There were thousands of them. Maybe even millions. But there are two notable ones. The one that we killed and then revived, the blue cube, who was on the side of life, and the gold cube. Which kind of seemed like a higher ranking one. And that's when we dropped into Chapter 2, Season 8, with the whole last reality and invasion on the planet, slowly corrupting the entire island, creating those sideways zones.
Mm-hmm.
Then the whole Cube Assassin, I think was the name.
Cube Assassin, yeah.
Yeah, Cube Assassin, the Fiends. And we realized that, yeah, the whole Fortnitemares invasion back in Chapter 1, Season 6 was nothing. And also another thing I kind of caught on to, just a little fact that I'm going to point out right now. In the original trailer, when the Cube Queen was talking about destroying everything, she mentioned that instead of just saying everything will be destroyed, I found her wording interesting. She said only nothing will remain. And it's also been confirmed that this whole Chrome stuff that's taking over the island in this newest season is called The Nothing. So maybe they knew each other? I don't know.
I want to talk about a theory about that, but we'll do that at the very end.
Yeah, we'll go through
save theories for the end.
Yeah. But yeah,
we've got to keep the audience attention good.
Well, I want to go through this in order too. Cube Queen, yeah, last reality. All the cubes are corrupting the island, moving their way towards the center where they built that giant pyramid. The Cube Queen appeared there, started gathering energy, and basically creating her ultimate, basically gathering the energy from the cubes that they've spread across the island, and then began
a portal in the sky, which brought the
end event
ton of motherships and the cube's cradle. which held a ton of golden cubes in the center of it. Which I think someone did the math to figure out how many cubes there were. But I don't know where that tweet is.
Yeah, then the whole...
I thought I had it saved.
Yeah, the whole last reality started coming through, destroying everything. And it looked like the island was about to be overrun and destroyed. And then we got that little cutscene. The blue cube was destroyed, preventing it from protecting us any longer. Everything was about to be overrun, and then it cuts down. Well, then our saviors appear, the Seven.
Well, the Visitor and the Scientist.
And the Foundation.
He was more there for...
He was there for Jonesy, but he helped clear out the I.O. facility to get them control over the actual 0 point room at the center of the island. And then they had the Visitor and Visitor and Scientist go save the last remaining loopers and bring them to them. So he did play a role in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they head down to the thing, and then the whole island flips over. And I really, be honest, when we heard that the idea that the whole event was gonna have something to do with like flipping the island, and that promo image got revealed, we thought this doesn't sound like a cool live event leading us into an entire new chapter. But no, that was cool.
Yeah, that did end up being pretty cool. But at the time, that did kind of sound lame when it was first leaked. Let's hope that a TikTok ad doesn't leak the live event again. Or the end of chapter event
Let's
again.
hope not. Then that was also where we actually revealed who the Foundation was.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yep. And there were rumors about it, because like around the time the Foundation skin was like first revealed, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson himself posted this like a speech basically, and at the end he had mentioned, literally said by word, the Foundation.
Yeah.
And the whole thing that circular port on his chest and the designs on the side of his armor looked a lot like the tattoos The Rock had, but no one. So there was rumors about it, but no one had actually been confirmed. And then during that event, he took off the helmet and revealed The Rock, and we were all like, "Holy crap!"
Yep, that was a crazy big reveal.
But yeah, and then the whole flipped, and we got to see this new island, which Tilted Towers was back.
Yep. Well, we didn't know that quite at first, but then after a bit, it was like, oh yeah, under this ice right here, it's Tilted Towers. Oh.
Well, I mean, pretty much everyone knew, with the fact that there was like the one loading screen showcasing the island, and people had already kind of figured out the buildings or the ice blocks were kind of shaped like Tilted, so most people already knew by then. But
they had a pretty good idea, and then when it revealed, it was more just like, yeah, we were right.
Yeah, and that wasn't it the same week that Colombos came into the game?
Think so.
Or maybe it was a little bit after.
It sucks.
I think it was after when all the ice melted.
Yeah.
Ice and snow melted, yeah. Colombos are great. Hope they return.
I'm not sure. I think for a while there, we thought they were extinct, but then like there was areas where if you walked over, you would get launched in the air, and they were called hidden Colombos. So they survived the whole I.O. bombardment that wiped nearly all of them out.
No, yeah, some of them, except that one dead one over by Covert Cavern.
Yeah, there were some still around.
Yeah, it was thought that they had died, because mostly apparently the I.O. didn't want the Seven actually using those in the war, because a lot of the areas that had like bombardments were the common spawn locations for the Colombos.
Yeah.
So apparently I.O. decided to just wipe them out. Yeah, okay, I guess now we're moving on to the...
What's next?
Because considering we're talking about the I.O. war...
2.
Yeah, Chapter 3, Season 2.
Or yeah, Chapter 3, not Chapter 2.
And this is actually when we got revealed the rest of the Seven. So we now know the entire lineup for the Seven are the Visitor, the Paradigm, the Scientist, the Imagined, the Order, the Origin, and the Foundation.
Yep.
Also, another interesting fact that was revealed about the Foundation is if you actually listen to his lobby music, he was originally
The
member-
Origin?
the Origin. Yeah,
I thought
sorry.
you said the Foundation.
Yeah, he
No,
was
sorry, yeah,
the
the Origin.
King of. He was the king of the
King of the Cubes.
reality.
He was the alongside the Cube Queen were the creators of the last reality. But I think he had a different idea for them in mind. I don't think they were supposed to be like destructor. But then being that they were made of corrupted energy, they corrupted and began destroying things, and the Cube Queen gave into that corruption and started just destroying realities. And the Origin didn't want anything to do with that, so he tried to leave, got captured by the IO, remained captured for a while until he eventually snuck his way out, found the Foundation, who was putting together the Seven, and joined up with them, becoming the Origin.
Yeah, didn't he somehow get to the island, was imprisoned by the IO, and then during like a prison escape or something?
He basically tricked the IO and snuck his way out.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm literally quoting the song there. The song says he tricked the IO.
He sold out, but he was just plotting something.
Yeah. And then people heard the Imagined got introduced to her sister, the Order, and we thought, Imagined Order, that's
Kinda sus.
Yeah, well, we thought, and then she'd seemed a little, like, Imagined in some of her briefings seemed a little suspicious. We thought, are they going to betray them? But then that's when we learned, no, they're not. Basically, they were originally members of the Imagined Order, the twin daughters of Geno. But then Geno had made a bet with someone else in the Imagined Order that these two, if they were sent into the loop and had like the full effects of the loop on them, they would quickly find their way out and be the first people to ever escape the loop. And Geno had basically thought, yeah, they could do that, and had sent them into the loop. They took longer than he thought, and they weren't the first people to escape the loop. And when they eventually did, they found out that because they didn't do what he wanted them to do, he basically made snapshots of them that were the perfect warriors with like barely any emotions to be members of his new thing, and just left those two behind. And in their anger and, well, the Origin basically confirmed in the Zero War comic, the Origin does want to help the Loopers, wants to help free them and stop the tyranny that their father was doing, so no one else had to suffer the same thing they did. But the Imagined in this is to just take down her dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, Geno, Father of the Year award. He deserves it.
Definitely.
She was just in it to do that, but then the two of them, they're not going to betray the IO, or the Seven, because they have a vendetta against the IO. And then it also explains why their names shared similarities with the Imagined Order, because they were doing it to be petty against their dad.
Yep. r/petty revenge.
But the whole thing was that they didn't know their past.
Yeah, but then when they found they knew that they were the daughters of Geno, they just don't remember things about their past.
Because they had the effects of the loop and they lost a bunch of their memories.
So while they don't remember their past, they do know that they're the daughters of Geno,
Right.
and that he did leave them and created snapshots of them.
So I think we should get to the Collider event, I guess.
It's kind of, when we're talking about the Zero War comic, because issues 1 through 4 that take place before the Collision event.
Collider.
No, the name of the event
Something like that, I don't know.
No, the name of the event is Collision.
Whatever.
But yeah, it was the one that involved the Collider. But then issue 5 of the comic runs parallel to the event. Basically the whole thing states it was basically Spider-Man, who had been brought in chapter 2 season 1 or chapter 3 season 1, had been talking about had been helping the Seven, and basically said he had an idea. They wanted to find like some weapon to use against the IO's secret weapon. They thought about the mech that had been originally used, so they decided
To recommission the mech.
they wanted to go try to find the mech on the ice moon that it had crashed on. And doing so, there was an eternal storm covering the whole moon that they couldn't get through. So Spider-Man picks up. He does know a few people from his world that could control the weather, that could help try to at least calm the storm at least a little bit, so they can actually get there. And they also know of a bunch of heavy hitters who could help in this fight against the IO. So and then Scientist mentions that, back to the Galactus event, when he returned to his reality and was sent packing by all the original Marvel characters that came through, he took a piece of the 0 point with him. So basically, they want to retrieve that because they think it would be the perfect power source for the mech, seeing it as a little fragment of 0 point energy. So it's back in their world. So the Spider-Man, Imagined, and Jonesy all head to that world to find it, and in order to track it down, Spider-Man goes and talks to Wolverine. They go through to track down, well, then Iron Man and a bunch of the Avengers and other superheroes, mostly a lot of the ones who had been there before, head back. So Iron Man, Foundation, Scientist, Storm, and Thor steal a ship from the took a ship they had got stolen from the IO and flew up to the Ice Moon to try and find the mech, where they find that the Paradigm is still alive. And then the rest of the other members, led by Captain Marvel, stay down to help fight against the IO. Trying to remember there. Eventually, I'm trying to remember this part of the comic. But yeah, Spider-Man eventually finds out, and then they find out something interesting when trying to track down the crystallized fragments. I'm like everything else. They find out that Doctor Doom has joined the Imagined Order.
Oh yeah.
And he's helping Geno try and undermine the efforts of the rest of the seven, basically. Then we also find out some interesting part about Jonesy's backstory and about how the Imagined Order works. When you join the Imagined Order, you become immortal. Not unkillable, but you don't age. And Jonesy, when he apparently joined a long time ago. Basically, he joined because he knew a lot about other realities and was a good fit for them, under the condition that the Imagined Order would protect his family, because he had a wife and kids. And the thing, he was made biologically immortal, and then his wife grew old and died, and his kids grew old, had kids of their own. Those kids grew old and had their own kids, and then his kids now grandparents. And he decided he wanted to try, and because this was sad seeing his loved ones age and die, he wanted to leave, have his immortality removed so he could go out and live with his family. The IO said no. He couldn't just leave and all that, so he kind of just continued to work for them, but not really happy with this existence anymore. But he thought that he was doing the right thing, at least, helping protect realities. Until the whole event happens where he became disillusioned with them and went up to join the Seven, believing them to actually be on a good cause. Then we basically find out that Dr. Doom had went to the Ice Moon as well, where it's revealed that the Ice Moon is actually the domain of someone a ways back. The Ice King, back from Chapter 1, Season 7. And that apparently he has like a fortress there, a giant castle that he had been slumbering in. That basically, and we learn from him his backstory. He created a group of knights to try and locate dangerous beings and objects throughout the Omniverse and seal them away in his castle so that they can't be used for evil. One of his knights decided they have all these beings and weapons of mass destruction and infinite power. We should try and use them.
Conquer everything.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, Ice King, absolute Chad.
Yeah, so then because of that, he ended up freezing his entire order of knights and himself in ice, moving their ice moon that they had set the castle up on to reality zero and going into hibernation. Then,
Well, I don't think he willingly chose to go to the island.
he wanted to go to he wanted to go to a reality separate from all the others. Which actually no, I think this means that actually this brings credit to your theory that the original island was a part of the loop, because he says he wanted to bring him the ice moon to an isolated dimension and ended up coming to reality zero. Then when he was stuck in hibernation for a while, and then all of a sudden a solar storm sheared a piece of the ice moon off and a piece of his castle with some stuff. That piece of the castle ended up plummeting to Earth, landing in the ocean, where it drifted until it reached the original island. That's how we got to the island in the first place. So it also says one thing, confirmed another thing. The prisoner, we all thought that the Ice King was a bad guy for freezing everything in ice, and the prisoner was a good guy trying to stop him. No, the prisoner was the knight that wanted to use all of his stuff to conquer all reality. And that the monster was one of the creatures he froze in ice because it was too dangerous. And that
there was something else that was also confirmed in those comics, is that there were more monsters on the Ice Moon.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff on the Ice Moon. It's just the prisoner and the monster were the only ones in the part of the castle that sheared off and came to Earth. Well, and the Infinity Blade too, because technically that was also one of the things trapped in ice. And considering how powerful it was, yeah, I see why he tried to keep it away. That thing was overpowered.
Yeah, everyone in that one tournament definitely agrees with that.
Yeah, everyone agrees with the Ice King that that should have been kept away from realities. But yeah, that's the whole thing. Why that temple was covered in ice and why there was all that stuff frozen in it. That as it thawed out was becoming really, really dangerous, because they were stuff that the Ice King deemed way too dangerous to have in the Omniverse and froze them for safekeeping. It also confirmed that the whole war that happened between the Ice King, the whole thing where he froze over the island and had those ice beings, that was in a war against the prisoner, and that even after the prisoner woke in his volcano and had his army of hybrid soldiers, eventually the Ice King did win, froze the prisoner in the bottom of the ocean. So the prisoner is still stuck in ice underneath the ocean on the island.
On the Chapter 1 island, though.
Yeah, no, I think considering a few things seem to transfer over, I wouldn't be surprised if he's just stuck underwater somewhere and that he might play a role in something big in the future.
Maybe.
I think he was captured by the IO.
That wouldn't surprise me, honestly.
I could see that happening.
Because there was
I could see him returning as an IO soldier, definitely.
Yeah, that would make sense. Honestly.
Because the IO No, because definitely...
Sorry,
go. What were you saying?
In the Impossible... Sorry, what was it called?
Imposter?
The freaking Among Us mode?
Imposters, I think.
Yeah, Imposters. There was a room that was on fire or something. You could see fire in it. And I'm thinking they had him in prison there or something.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised, considering the whole thing is he wanted to use all these weapons and beings of mass destruction to take over all reality, and the IO wants control over all of reality. So
they've got
similar goals.
They share the same goals.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They try to recruit him. Another thing we don't want to gloss over is the fact that Origin hated Paradigm because thought Paradigm betrayed them.
No, Foundation did.
Foundation? I thought that was the Origin.
No, Foundation hates Paradigm because of the betrayal of their goals. Origin couldn't care less because she's useful to their plans. Scientists believed in
Scientists was simping for her.
Yeah, scientists was simping for her, honestly.
But are you sure?
It's Foundation.
Because he seemed very nonchalant about her returning.
No, he wanted the mech.
It was Foundation that hated it.
No, Foundation didn't seem nonchalant about it because he wanted the mech. He thought Paradigm was dead and they were going to return the mech from the Ice Moon. But then once they found out that the Paradigm is still alive, he's upset with her.
I could have sworn.
That's what happened in the comics.
I thought from the voice lines, though, from not the Paradise Quest, but those other quests, I thought it was the Origin that did.
Nope. Origin couldn't care less.
The Origin saw her as a tool, and the Foundation is disappointed that she helped the IO, even though it was to protect the 0 point.
Yeah.
Was it though? Because I feel like there was another reason that she got out.
No, it was because she was the only one willing to try and save reality.
Oh yeah,
Even though she almost destroyed it by cracking the 0
But
point.
I thought it was Origin, because Origin was imprisoned in the IO
Or
at the
maybe
same
not.
time Paradigm was. That's why, because
I think it was both of them that did.
And then-
No, I think it was because because that was how Origin was recruited. He was trapped in the IO facility at the same time as Paradigm, because of what she did. Paradigm used her ideas to help, actually leave, and to help them stop the destruction of reality. And Origin escaped, and because of what Paradigm had mentioned about the Seven, she found the Foundation, and Origin found the Foundation and joined up with the Seven.
Here's what I think might have happened. So, how Paradigm escaped the IO was she agreed to help them. She would pilot the mech. Back when she was also Singularity, she would pilot the mech to save reality, and then at the end, she probably was supposed to return or whatever. But then she just blasted off to the moon to get away from the IO.
Yeah, that's what happened.
That's what Origin probably thought she betrayed the Seven, because she just kind of was talked with the IO and then was gone. So he probably thought that she betrayed the Seven and
Foundation.
Origin
couldn't care.
But Origin was the one that was in prison with her.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm thinking.
Because Origin was the one in the prison with her, he would know that she was also a prisoner, and totally, he would know more about the situation and would totally agree.
I could have sworn it was Origin that didn't like her.
No, it was Foundation.
And the voice lines for the quest back in chapter 3,
I don't know
season
about
2.
those original voice lines, but it confirmed that Origin couldn't care less, and the Foundation.
Okay, whatever. What's next?
Yeah, the collision event, basically. The whole Paradigm piloting the new and improved mech and trying to destroy the Collider. The death of Sloane, which actually the comics confirmed that, she's dead.
She's just dead.
She's dead. She's gone. So no more Sloane.
A lot of people were thinking she would return, or that she was the Herald. But I was pretty sure that Seven vs. IO was over in chapter 2, season 2. Now it's the Seven trying to save all reality.
We also learned that Geno, he was there. He had been on top of the Collider while the whole thing was, the whole event was going on. And Foundation, Imagined Order and Wolverine actually went after him, and in a sacrifice, Imagined dropped herself and Geno into the 0 point. And because of that, it had focused on Geno for a little bit there, and that's when Jonesy and Foundation jumped in, where they found him. Basically, him and Imagined had jumped into the 0 point when it wasn't focused on a single reality, and ended up getting themselves scattered throughout all of reality. Which, it seems like a self-sacrifice, but actually in the end, Geno pulls himself back together.
Huh.
So he's still out there. But he also admits doing that is that the power he's going to need to take him out, you've destroyed the IO. The power it would need me to pull me back together, I will be out of commission for a while. You've won. And then he reveals that the IO has been basically keeping track of threats throughout the Omniverse, things that could threaten the entire Omniverse, and that they've been keeping them at bay. And now that you've defeated us, now you have control, and now it's up to you to guard the Omniverse.
Why would he wait so long to say that?
Because the Seven knew that there would be a problem. They just thought he was being too controlling, and that he was abusing the powers of the 0 point. And Imagined exists. Yes, we get that. We have differences in opinion. We both want to protect the multiverse. I was doing what I thought was right. Now it's your turn. So they thought, since they were being too controlling, they were just going to let the 0 point do what it wanted, and that ended up with the 0 point blooming the reality tree and having that effect on the island. Then slowly, during the whole party that was vibing,
The Seven started disappearing.
and eventually, until it was only the Paradigm,
Well, first,
the Paradigm, Jonesy, and Amy.
Yeah, Amy. Then they found out that apparently that the scientist, the Origin, and the Foundation were still there, trapped inside a secret research bunker that the scientists set up, studying.
the
some
Visitor
new
was there as
phenomenon.
well.
Yeah.
We also need to talk.
No, the Foundation
previous-
wasn't there. Foundation was gone.
Foundation, Imagined, and Order were just gone. We didn't
Yeah.
know where they were. Well, Imagined
Well, imagine
sacrificed herself and died. But the Order and the Foundation, we have no idea what happened to them. But the Origin, the Scientist, and the Visitor were in the bunker.
You were saying
Yeah,
something?
so some things that we actually have to talk about there. 2, how the hell is the Imagine back? Because her armor was still found. And 2, who's Amy?
Amy was an AI that the scientist created.
Yeah, there was a acronym, something with it. I don't know.
Something like that.
I can't remember what it was. But how is the Imagine's armor found?
I don't know.
Because one of the theories that people came up with was that the Foundation replaced her with a snapshot.
Yeah.
Which, if that is true, that kind of makes him a little questionable.
Yeah, I
Why
don't
he
know.
would
Yeah,
replace his
something-
friend.
Not all of them, but a couple of the 7 members are kind of suspicious to me. Like, the Foundation and the Visitor, I feel like are just a little suspicious about what they do. Like, Foundation is what he does. Visitor is how little he does.
Fair enough.
He has not played a major role in the storyline
Since
Season X.
no, not even season X.
Well, he was
Since
somewhat
Season
part of it in
4.
Season X.
No, that was the scientist.
That was all scientists? Then yeah, he hasn't done
He hasn't
anything
done
since Season
anything-
4.
No, he shot a few of the cube things in Chapter 2, Season 8's The End event, and he set up the original rocket all the way back in Chapter 1, Season 4. That's all the Visitor's done.
He has not done this. I don't know. I just find that weird. I'm hoping we get a little more like in-depth look at the 7 next chapter, and a little more like of what they're doing, because I don't know, something's really weird about the way they operate and everything.
Yeah, it seems...
Yeah, they don't. I feel like the more we're gonna learn about them, the
Honestly-
less heroic they're gonna seem.
Yeah.
The Foundation seems more like on a personal vendetta.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, back in like Chapter 2, Season 6, he only really listened to Jonesy when he brought up Geno and the sisters.
Yep. He didn't care about the 0 point and that. It was
Yeah, and
collective.
and the only reason he was agreeing to help fix the 0 point was because that was the only way Jonesy was going to willingly give him the information on Geno and the sisters.
Yep. So
See,
Where are we at now?
Foundation seems more like on a personal vendetta. Origin genuinely wants to help. Order genuinely wants to help. Paradigm genuinely wants to help.
So
Same with the scientist.
Okay.
Same with
I feel
scientists.
like-
back to vibing. So what had happened was, in the quests at least, we found Foundations, Visitors, Imagines, and either the Scientists or the Origin. We basically just found a couple of helmets, and we're like, that's weird. Where are the people? And then it turns out, well, Visitor, Scientist, and Origin are in a bunker, but they never said anything about the Foundation, the Imagined, and the Order.
Yeah, though we don't know
We
where
have
they
no
are.
idea where they went.
They've disappeared.
Probably consumed by the Chrome before anyone had figured out what was going on.
Maybe, yeah, I would bet. But
I
Yeah.
feel like if any of them did survive, I feel like the Foundation probably.
Probably.
feel like
I
they
don't
probably
think
tough
I
enough.
don't think the rest of the 7 is dead. I feel like if
No.
we do defeat the Chrome, they're gonna come back.
yeah,
I don't think they're
Well, yeah,
permanently
'cause-
gone.
Well, there was one voice line from the scientist after he was consumed by the Chrome, and he was talking. So.
Yeah, there
obviously
was
they
that thing where he
die.
says, I don't remember, was that
I don't know
before or
where I
after the
am.
Chrome?
it was after the Chrome. It was season 4.
When he said that, when he was talking about, I don't know where I am, but I know something.
Yeah,
about
so they're
that.
still alive somewhere.
They're still alive somewhere. Just don't know where.
Yeah,
Probably something to do with the last reality.
maybe. because we know the nothing thing is this whole chrome that's covering the island, and it's affecting everything. And we also know that there is a traitor, the Bite skin.
Bites.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's a traitor. He's
working with the nothing.
Yeah, he's working with the nothing to undermine Paradigm's efforts.
But it's weird because in that first Fracture teaser we got, he was getting sucked into the chrome tornado, and someone was like holding on to him, trying to keep him getting sucked in.
I think because that's where he got
Yeah.
affected. Because if you look at his skin, he's got chromed hands.
I don't know, something like that.
Honestly, I don't think they really cared about the continuity with that. Sometimes they throw away continuity for no reason.
Yeah, that is what Fortnite does.
But yeah, this seems interesting where we're going from here. But yeah, the whole Chrome event now. And now we're moving on to what's going to come up soon, the live event. And I've got something interesting. I think because they meant there's just some of the stuff that we've been talking about, at least in the newest quest lines. I think I have an idea of what might happen. The event's called Fracture. The description mentions rebooting and reforging. Yeah, that's the word. It's reforging, and the fact that Paradigm says reality is doomed. There's nothing we can do to save it. But she also has an idea on how we can survive, and she mentions something called the Loop Breaker Project. I think what the idea is we're going to destroy and reforge the 0 point, and in doing so, destroy and reforge all of reality without the chrome.
Huh.
Which, ironically, and this is the part that's I think it's gonna hurt a lot, I'm pretty sure that's what the Collider was going to do. Because it got mentioned in the comics.
I don't know if the Collider was gonna reforge the reality.
No, that's what it was going to wipe. It was going to wipe clean all life in the 0 point. That's what the Collider was going to do. Wipe everything clean and restart. And that's kind of what they're going to do here. So they're literally using the tactic that they tried so desperately to stop back in the Chapter 3, Season 2 live event.
It's just as he had said, just as you had said earlier. It feels like the more and more we learn about the Seven, the less and less heroic they seem to be.
I think in this case, it's really gonna feel. I know I'm referencing another franchise, but I really think like it's the war between the Seven and the IO was more like something between the Assassins and Templars from Assassin's Creed. Neither side is really the good guy or the bad guy. They're just doing what they think is right.
Yeah.
There isn't really a good guy or bad guy in this side. They're just trying to bring about some end goal that, in the end, will be better for everyone. Like, with the Assassin's Creed franchise, I'll just go a quick thing and I'll explain why I think. The Templars, both sides want to bring world peace. The Templars want to do it by controlling everyone, removing free will, and having only a few people in charge of making decisions for the entire world. The Assassins want everyone to choose peace and all that with their own free will. And so everyone will remain free and have their own choices.
It's a Fortnite podcast.
I know, I'm just doing that for a quick description.
The Ubisoft one's gonna come another time.
I'm just doing that as a quick description, and that's what it feels like. Both the Imagined Order and the Seven want to protect all of reality.
Well, Geno also had an alternative goal of making the perfect race, the most powerful race that could not be stopped by anyone.
I know, but that's the thing. He wanted to bring peace to all of reality and control all of reality. Bring peace to all reality and make sure it's safe by controlling everything. Having this ultimate unbeatable race, patrolling and policing the entire multiverse, keeping people in check, stopping threats and all of that. Basically controlling all reality. Whereas the Seven wanted the 0 point and everyone in reality to be free. They want them to choose their own paths, to do what they want to do. And so they're not being controlled by anyone, but still protect their reality. That's how I feel. It's like neither side is really a good guy or bad guy. They're trying to protect all reality, and they just have different methods of doing it. And that causes the conflict. Sorry, go.
So who's doing their next theory?
One thing, but you can go next. I just want to throw one thing out there that I've been seeing, and that is a lot of people seem to think we're going to be putting a pause on the story, and next chapter is actually going to be a prequel to chapter 1. It's going to be sort of like what a lot of people are saying, and I think this would be really cool, the origin of, like, the loop and how it works, like, the beginning of it all. That's what people think next chapter could end up being.
That would be cool.
And I think that would be really cool. Anyways, you go. You've got theories.
Yeah, I got a couple theories, though. In the last couple days, a lot of them have kind of immediately been debunked, pretty much. Or just now starting to seem less likely. But one of the things I wanted to say first is I don't think we're going to get a prequel season or chapter. I just doubt that. I don't think we would do that. That just seems like a bad way to do things. Alright, so let's read through the notes I have here. So let's start. So we already went through the Seven Dead. I already said the Foundation was never captured. I have a feeling the Cube Queen's going to return during the event.
Probably.
Because like there's still that gold glowing bubble by those those mountains over by
Somewhere.
lumber yard or whatever. I can't remember.
And I highly doubt just taking a dip in the ocean is going to kill the Cube Queen. She's definitely out there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
I feel like she's returning during the event. I have a feeling.
Yeah, like as I mentioned in her trailer, we hear her say, "Only nothing will remain," and this chrome stuff is called the Nothing, so there might be a connection.
Yeah.
Now talking about the Nothing, we're gonna get to the next theory, which I already talked to Brendan about this one.
Yeah. This is interesting.
So my theory is 0 Point is a prison. Okay, we got a villain called the Nothing, an energy source of great power called the 0 Point. Like, there's a negative and there's a zero. So you need a positive. And we don't really have like some main hero to cheer for.
So we will now be introduced to the something. That's just a joke I made when he was explaining this to me.
Good, but...
No, just when you were explaining to me the other day, that's just a joke I made.
Yeah, I know. That was the joke that you made. It was...
No, you had called it, what was
It's
it?
not the most ridiculous thing I've seen.
No, but you called it what? The everything?
Yeah, the everything, because it just, I don't know, has a better ring to it than the something.
Yeah, it's not the first time a dynamic like this has been mentioned before. Fair enough. And we do know that the zero, at least the loop, is a prison.
Yeah.
It's designed to keep...
That's one of the theories I had a very long time ago.
That's literally what the IO set the prison... It's supposed to take... It's similar to Ice King's thing. The loop was designed to take some, like, dangerous and skilled opponents, lock them inside a prison where they can keep fighting and killing each other for eternity to research them. So it's like a combination prison and laboratory. That's what the loop is supposed to be.
Yeah, I had that as a theory a long time ago.
That's not even a theory. That's confirmed. That was confirmed in the Batman comic.
Yeah, I know, but I had that as a theory before the Batman comic.
Yeah.
So I was right again. Anyways.
So, one of the other theories I had, though, kind of... It doesn't seem very likely with the whole, like, Loop Breaker project happening. And then the other one doesn't really make sense, so I'm just not even going to throw them out there. It would literally just... It wouldn't stick to the wall at all if I threw it there.
Fair enough.
So, one of the things you were talking about in your theory, you were thinking, like, the Nothing is, like, the big bad who's trapped in the 0 Point, and then there's the Cube Queen below him, and then the Herald below her.
Yeah.
And it was like, so they're basically, the Cube Queen and the Herald are trying to get to the 0 Point so they can free the Nothing, who's, like, their leader.
That was my theory, and I don't know, I feel like it makes sense.
Yeah,
And
fair
I
enough.
feel like the hierarchy there kind of makes sense because a herald is the messenger for a monarch or a queen,
Fair enough. Yeah.
and then the queen obviously. I don't really have any reason for believing that the Nothing is higher than her, other than the fact that we just haven't seen the Nothing, and he's a big villain that they're leading up to.
And one thing with the Herald and the Q Queen, it's the parallels to what they're doing.
Actually.
They come to the island, they set up a base somewhere. You know, the Q Queens was the big cube pyramid, and the Herald has her castle wherever, and they've set up those, and now they've got something that's like spreading throughout the island, taking over locations and stuff. And
their descriptions talking about nothing will remain.
Yeah, they're both talking about, both their descriptions talk about the Nothing. It's all just the parallels between the two. They're definitely together in some sort of way, like working together, or just both working for the Nothing in some way.
I forgot about something. A possible new organization.
Ooh, are we gonna talk about the Peace Syndicate or whatever?
Peace Syndicate. Yeah, that was it. Peace Syndicate.
Yeah, the Peace Syndicate. One thing I do want to throw out there before we get into more theories is that leaked spray that we had of Midas's hand covered in chrome. That there's got to be something going on there.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. It was a theory I came up with when I was looking through it. The Midas's ability to turn anything he touches into gold seems very similar to the chrome's spreading effect.
Yeah.
The fact that anything comes into contact with it, and I was wondering if maybe the Midas might have a connection. But yeah, it's confirmed. So, last session, Eevee, the skin that was introduced in Vibin thing, the one has the whole red and blue, or as I like to call her, the Nintendo Switch skin.
Yeah.
But yeah, she is a member of the Peace Syndicate, and basically after she came to the island.
Night Skin in that season too was
Malik.
Malik was a part of the Peace Syndicate too.
Was he? I don't think he was.
I think it was confirmed via dialogue, like NPC dialogue or something.
Oh, I didn't.
I think I remember hearing that some point.
And who was saying something? Someone was saying something.
Well, I was basically what we do know is there is one other one this season.
Twins part of the Peace.
Twins part of the Peace Syndicate too.
Oh yeah, because it literally mentions Twin Syndicate in the description.
Yeah,
but one thing, I don't remember who had this theory. If it was one of you two or someone else I know, somebody had a theory that Midas is the founder of the Peace Syndicate. I don't remember who had that.
I think I talked about that.
Somebody had that theory. I don't know, but that maybe. I don't know. Do you think if Midas were to come back and have like an army of such or something like the Peace Syndicate, like where would he be in like the whole like the spectrum that we've got right now with good and evil?
Here's what I'm
thinking. More towards IO, more towards the 7, middle, like where would he be?
Here's what I think. I just kind of thought about this. We always thought that the 7 were the good guys, the IO were the bad guys. But now that we're getting the whole muddled, and that the two of them are kind of becoming interchangeable and seeming less and less heroic, maybe that's where the Peace Syndicate's going to come in. Maybe they're supposed to be the new good guys in this whole thing, the ones that we're going to want to side with.
Yeah.
Now that like the 7 are making more and more questionable choices and all that, and the IO's gone, maybe they're going to be the new good guys we're going to follow.
That makes sense, because, like, Midas was trying to destroy the loop. I feel like that is where the Loop Breaker project originates from.
What if the Loop Breaker project is the device event? Or was that, that was the original iteration of the Loop Breaker project?
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Midas, because here's the thing, Jonesy mentions he really knows the project well enough. And Jonesy was the one who was focusing on the device event. We were the one we talked about when he was talking about focus on the loop. I'm
so-
wondering, so can I just finish this? I'm wondering if Midas tried to destroy the loop itself, but he failed. But then that gave the IO kind of idea to think about it. And then they actually built a functioning loop breaker project. Or at least the ideas for it. And then now that's going to be used.
Something interesting I was just realizing. So we know how there was the Chapter 2 island, and then below that was, the IO base, and on the other side of that was the Chapter 3 island. Midas's device was stored way beneath the agency, about where the IO's base would have been. So is Midas like Jonesy, where he defected from the IO, and that's why he created the device to try and break free of the loop, and to leave the IO?
Maybe.
And maybe that's where the Peace Syndicate comes in. He's founded this to try and he founded it originally to try and put a stop to the IO, and still accomplish the IO's goals, just not as a tyranny, but more like a protective government sort of thing, rather
Hence
than
the name, the Peace Syndicate.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Because I feel like there's still more that just there's no way that just kind of came out of nowhere for a little bit. Oh, by the way, here's this dude who's going to create this big device and do all this weird stuff to the storm and whatever, powered by the 0 point maybe something. And then once that's all over, oh yeah, who cares about him? He just gets eaten by a shark.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
feel
gone.
like considering
that
the fact,
just doesn't seem right.
no, because considering the fact that even the parts of this that were at least somewhat story based, but didn't seem to have a significance to the main story, are now coming back, with the Ice King and the Prisoners of War and all that. Maybe we might actually see some of the less story focused stuff, like the whole war between Ghost and Shadow back early on, actually coming to fruition with this.
I'm still so confused about Ghost and Shadow and how that worked.
How much you want to bet that, because it seemed like...
It was a shadow... I feel like it was a shadow war to distract the IO from Midas's big plan.
Maybe.
Oh, wait, here's an idea. What if the whole ego and alter thing... What if all of them were members of this peace syndicate that Midas is in fact in charge of, and then their whole thing
was to cause chaos on the island to distract the IO while Midas built the device to try and break the loop.
And Ego and Alter showed up. Were originally when they were back when they were Ego and Alter, and they discovered the loop and they discovered its problems and all of that. And then because of that, they informed the information of being inside the loop to Midas, who then entered the loop himself with his own agents, setting up this fake war between two shadow organizations, Ghost and Shadow, and so the two of them would fight each other, distracting the IO while he built the device to try and break the loop, and then it ended up failing.
But now they're going back to that. Because when you think about it, the device, it was this, it would stick up way above the island, and it was this big device.
It almost looked like a false
zero point energy, something like that, and it was up there, and it was whatever energy sprouting off, trying to do stuff. It's not much, but it is kind of similar to the Collider, and how it worked. Because it had that big energy source that it was trying to push the 0 point into, and it was stick up above the island and was energy spout, whatever. They were kind of similar.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to learn that the whole original stuff that seemed to have no influence to the story was actually going to play a major role.
Yeah, I feel like with the Ice King, the whole Ice King prisoner thing happening and how that's actually important to the story now, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of things that happened in Fortnite that we thought meant absolutely nothing that are now going to be vital to the story.
I'm just thinking now, there's all this, big stuff that has been revealed, confirmed, and is now coming back into the story. And we have a 40-minute event.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
A 40-minute event. And
it's probably going to be actually closer to 30 minutes, because even though the time official on the picture says 4 p.m., I actually ran some math on the actual timer, and it starts at 4:10.
Yeah, the timer never usually is the exact. They never usually have an exact time. And besides, what they seem to be, it's going to be like there's going to be something else, sort of like how in the chapter 2 end event, where there was like you would shoot at the zombies trying to get up to the base that you were at. There's just going to be something extra that you can do while you wait for the actual event to start. But like the extra stuff is going to start at 4:10.
I would
the
say
actual
4:10,
event itself is going to start at 4:40.
Considering the in-game timers usually have a pretty exact number of like when it's actually going to start.
Yeah, but it also is a bigger like live event file. Like it is the biggest.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty big.
No, and even then, even if it does start at 10 o'clock, that still means that it's going to be a half an hour long event. Usually your live events are only like 10-15 minutes long. This thing's double the length of a usual event.
The end event last season, or last chapter, that one was, I think, about 11 to 12 minutes long.
I think the longest event we've had was like 15 max.
Yeah, this is the longest live event we've ever had.
It's going to be pretty big.
Yeah, which I actually going to bring up another theory I had for what might happen during the event, or at least the thing that keeps us a little occupied is that we might have like go from one side of the map to the other, like running from zombies and crap, trying to escape, and evacuating the island all the way over to the Zeppelin and the pirate ship.
I mean, we can theorize all we want, but we're not gonna know until December 3rd at 4 p.m. Eastern when the event actually happens. Yes, when we'll be live streaming it. I'm probably going to do a live stream the day before the event, then I'm going to live stream the event, and then I'm going to live stream on the first day of the season. That's probably my plan.
I'm going to be lazy. Honestly, I'm going to be lazy and not stream the day before, because that's a little too much for me.
Because that's what I did in Chapter 2. Yeah. I streamed the day before the event, then streamed the actual event itself. I don't think I did a Chapter 3 stream, though,
Although mentioning the pirate ship and the airship, though, considering that they are both, like, over on the right next to each other on that part of the map, overlooking considering they're overlooking the Herald's Castle, and they're both right next to each other, and they're both the only two giant flying actual like mobile bases, that's probably where we're starting the event, honestly.
Probably. We'll probably start it like it'll probably be like how we were on the helicarrier during the Galactus event.
Yeah, that's how
we'll be like on the deck of the Driftwood or on the flare ship somewhere. That's probably how it's gonna work.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I think that's just about everything we need to cover. We're almost
at an hour and a half long for this podcast, so.
And I think we've gone over everything we really needed to cover.
Yeah, we've made corrections to the last one. We've gone through the story that's happened since then, and we've put our ideas for what's to come.
So yeah, that's probably it for the podcast then. So
well, thanks for joining us.
Yep. Probably not the last time you'll be here. We'll probably be seeing you in another podcast in the future.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, that's probably it for this episode, Podcast for Your Thoughts. We'll be seeing you all. Oh, I'll be seeing you all December 2nd for a live stream to say goodbye to Chapter 3. Very, very short-lived because it's only been a year.
I might pop in and say hi, but I'm not gonna actually. I might not be able to play, so
probably not. But it doesn't matter. So yeah, see you. See you later.